How are you finding lockdown at the moment?
On a very simple personal level, fine. Like, we've got the allotment, we've got a roof over our head, we've got a bit of money still coming in, we've got food on a plate. You know, we're blessed as a family. But obviously it's weird, it's uncomfortable, it's a bit scary, and I'm just embracing it as an opportunity for change, positive change.
How are you finding lockdown in general and having this space to come to?
In general, it's very sad and I'm worried, but positive because I'm trying to be busy, and thank God I have a cat and a dog, which helps a lot because they entertain us. The allotment is a haven. It's absolute haven. You can still talk to people, you can work with your plants, and as long as we are careful about the gate and the taps, we're probably very, very safe here, I would think.
It's good that we're not going to school, but I don't like how everybody's dying.
I just don't know what we'd be able to do really if we couldn't come up here. It's so therapeutic on so many levels, and it just feels like such a kind of escape from all the madness. And so if we start feeling in any way overwhelmed, if we just come and spend a couple of hours here, everything seems better.
Like everybody, it's very difficult. It's have to find your own way of getting through it, and the fact that we have, well, everybody who's got an allotment has a space to come to and be in nature is absolute godsend. This is our little oasis away from the mayhem of what's going on everywhere else.
So in a way it hasn't really affected me, except that I'm teaching from home, which actually is turning out to be really good for the kids because they're getting lots of one-to-one attention from me. So it's a strange time, but I definitely feel very privileged that it isn't a bad time for me. It may be once all our savings have run out. That's going to be a really bad time.
Well, I'm coping all right with it, really. I'm just limiting myself to what I buy from the shops. I'm spending a lot of time here because I don't have a garden where I live. So my allotment is 5 minutes from where I live, so I'm managing to get an awful lot of work done. I normally have to rush to do it all over a period of 2 or 3 days. Well, I've been here for 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's I'm enjoying taking my time and doing it properly. So that's the advantage. The disadvantage, I suppose, is that I'm not getting out to see any of my friends. I can't go down into central London to work, which is where I normally work. Yes, I'm missing the social side of things particularly, but I'm saving a lot of money and at the same time.
And how has lockdown affected you?
We have not been to the shops, so we're trying to order things, which is very tricky. We get all of the things at once, and then we attempt to wipe them down. We have a system. We have a clean guy and a dirty guy, and sometimes we forget who's who, but we try to wipe things down or set things aside for a few days if we don't need them right away. But we're learning to make bread.
And how's lockdown affected you?
I can't run my Montessori nursery classes. I can't be with any of my students, can't see family. Business might go under. Also might get a grant from the government, might end up coming out of it better. So it's just affecting, it's change. It might be positive, might not.
How does that uncertainty make you feel?
On one level I can feel it in my body as uncomfortable, but then how does it make me feel? Kind of alive. Yeah. I feel like I'm kind of living, and that I like that it's shaking everyone up. Obviously I don't want people to die. Like, I really genuinely feel a lot of worry and compassion for vulnerable people, but on a kind of emotional level, that's where I'm at.
The social isolation is an issue for everyone, and it's an odd reality to come to terms with. So sometimes you can, I guess we all have good days and bad days, and both for the short term and the long term.
Has lockdown affected you?
Yes, it has. Yeah, our business is
Closed.
Well, we've now reopened it in a slightly different way, but it's definitely affected us a lot.
We do street food from an old vintage van.
And festivals, so like things like Glastonbury and.
So yeah, the fact that they're all cancelling left, right, and centre has affected us. And we do a weekly lunch market, but everyone's working from home, so that's really just closed. So we've had to get a bit entrepreneurial, which has been good for us probably, although difficult when you're feeling so kind of unsettled. And we're now delivering DIY versions of our signature Buddha bowl dish to lots of our regular customers, and it's been nice for us doing that because that's given us a bit of our routine back, even though it's not, what it normally is, and has been getting us out and seeing our customers, even if from a distance. It's nice just to see them, and so that combined with our exercise, dog walking, and the allotments is, I think we're in a very fortunate position compared to a lot of people.
Well, I come here an awful lot now, so and we have a lodger who's been unable to go back home to Poland, and so she's lost all her jobs, and so she's living with us when she would actually rather be in Poland, but that's turning out really well as well. We're all learning to make bread, and she's making fantastic Polish food for us. And we're all getting on really well. So I can't say that lockdown has been awful for me. My mother is in her 80s, and I'm looking after her. That's a worry, but she's fine too. So, and she's not leaving the house at all.
I suppose the main thing is my concern for my parents who are elderly and live in the north, and I can't see them, but I'm in touch with them regularly by phone. My concern for an elderly friend whom I look after, who is 94, and obviously he's locked down completely, and yes, he's at a very, very vulnerable age. My friend Virginia, who owns this allotment, yes, she's a great age, and she can't get up here to do any work. So yes, I suppose my main serious concern are for the elderly people that I know in my life. That's it really.
How do you think it will be after lockdown?
I think it'll be perfectly horrible. The predictions today are that Great Britain could possibly be worse than any other country in Europe. I think the NHS is going to struggle, beyond struggle. I think we're going to lose a lot of wonderful people. It's terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
And is there anything else you'd like to add about lockdown and any personal viewpoints and how you felt so far in this situation?
My neighbours, everyone around us has been absolutely wonderful, and we all try to help one another, and so there's the really, really positive, good side is that people are very, very good indeed, very nice indeed, and we're trying to take care of one another.
And what positives do you see from lockdown?
Parents being with their kids, people like having the kind of the slower pace, being able to kind of actually see the changes of spring, notice the blossom coming out, the birds, the dawn song, plant vegetables, seeds, cooking meals from scratch, not just getting kind of KFC. Maybe people are still having KFC, who knows, but yeah, just the slowing down and the connection. Yeah.
And how do you see the future after lockdown?
I don't have a clear vision right now. No, it's not clear. It's not something I could easily describe at this point, but it's unfolding, and I do see it as being different. Yeah.
How do you find social distancing?
fine because I'm an introvert, so it's like, stay away, fuckers.
Brilliant. How do you see life after lockdown?
It won't be the same. I think it won't be the same. I mean, the whole travel industry, I can't imagine that's going to come back up, bounce straight up back up at all. Some people say it's going to be very, very different, and some people say it's going to come back to normal very quickly. Well, I personally think that this is a watershed, and some things will come back and some things will not. And for the people for whom their life does not return to normal, it's going to be extremely difficult. And whether the government have got the wisdom or the resources to make the necessary adjustments so that people for whom life does not come back to normal are not left on the scrap heap, that's a very major issue.
I think it will probably come back to normal soon, but everybody's going to be talking about it for a while.
And how do you feel about social distancing?
It feels weird when you're not, when you talk to people, you're usually closer to them, but now we're not allowed to go so close to people, so it's a bit weird.
What do you think it's going to be like after lockdown?
Ooh.
I'm hoping it goes back to the way it was in a lot of ways. Maybe in some things could change, but yeah, I quite enjoy our life the way it was. So hopefully it goes back to a bit of normality.
Yeah. It's hard to know. It was so hard to fathom that something like this could happen, that it's now hard to fathom what it would be like and what's normal anyway. So I don't know, but I hope lots of things go back to as they were, but maybe with a bit more kind of consideration and mindfulness and kindness, respect.
And looking after the NHS, of course.
Well, we live on a dead-end street, and everyone's being fantastic. We have a WhatsApp group, and we're sharing food, and we're sharing our plants, and we're doing errands for each other. It was a nice street before, but it's even nicer now. And people are just being very, very helpful everywhere, I think. And I feel really a lot of respect for newsagents, particularly in corner shops. Those tiny little shops where they have to monitor people coming in, and they're staying open and performing as good a service, I think, as the NHS.
I think a lot of people will want things to go back to normal, but I think normal is going to be a new thing altogether. I suspect it will have a big effect on the transport and travel business, airlines. I think people would be discouraged from going abroad on holiday for some time to come, and that would include me. I fear for a lot of small businesses, and that is a big concern, especially in the area in which we live here in East Finchley. I really fear for their future, and I hope they can recover from it. I'm sure some of them won't, and that will be a great sadness. So I think then post-COVID, post-corona, post-lockdown, it's going to be a very different world. I hope in many ways for the better.
I think we make too much of a deal about how we're going to be affected by things. I mean, really, it's a lockdown, and it will have been really difficult for people who live on their own or are in abusive relationships. But do people change that much? I don't think they really do. Maybe there'll be some kind of great social change like there was after the First World War or the Second World War. Maybe we'll get rid of the Conservative Party. I don't know.
Well, there's less pollution because there's less burning of fossil fuels. So
it won't last forever. We have to follow the guidelines and the advice of people who know much more than we do about this whole situation. And we just look forward to getting to the other side of it and hopefully making our world a better place once we're past all this.
What is the best thing about lockdown?
Not going to school, even though we still have to do schoolwork.
Take it as an opportunity to connect with your creativity and with what makes you happy. Like, you know, if that's, you know, don't think that you can't do art or music or singing or gardening because you're not good at it. Just take it as an opportunity to be a child again and play. If you can, if you're not an NHS worker who are trying to save people's lives. So yeah, if you know, for people that are locked down. So yeah.